Hello everyone, my name is Alexis and welcome to your beginner flow class. We're going to get started in a cross-legged seated position on your mat. If you want something to bolster up your hips a little over your knees, you can always fold up one edge of your yoga mat to sit on. This just gives you a little leverage and helps it easier to hold a straight spine. Otherwise, you can just sit on a block or on a cushion or just on your mat like I am. Come to a seat wherever that is, close your eyes, and just begin to take 3 breaths in and out through the nose. Today's class is a flow class, so we're focusing more on moving fluidly through these different postures and body shapes that we'll be making. Don't worry if you get it right or wrong. Focus on being like water as you move through this class. Go ahead and open your eyes. Inhale the arms down, around, and up overhead. And exhale, bring that left hand to your right knee and twist to the right. Lift up nice and tall through the spine. Inhale to lengthen up. Exhale to twist a little deeper. And you can look wherever is comfortable, forward, straight in front of you, or towards your back. It is up to you, whatever is comfortable for your neck. If you can't breathe, you've twisted too far, so back off a little. Twists are beautiful poses, but we don't want to overdo them. Inhale the arms back up to center, and this time bring the right hand to the left knee and twist to the left. Same thing, you're inhaling to get taller, like you could lift the top of your head up to the ceiling, and exhaling to maybe twist a little bit deeper. And you might not twist with every exhale, and that's okay. You just want to focus on breathing in this twist, twisting in your shoulders and your upper back, your thoracic spine, as opposed to twisting in your low back. Continue to breathe in and out, enjoying the feel of the twist. And then come back to center. Inhale. Take note of which foot is in front, is crossed in front. And then just fold forward over your feet. It doesn't matter how far you go, but I want you to make sure that your sits bones, your bum, stays nice and planted on the mat. So you might fold farther than me, you might not fold as far. All are okay. Meet yourself where you are at today in all of these poses and postures that we move through. You don't need to force anything. Let yourself arrive where you need to arrive today. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose, and see if you can breathe and pay attention to how it sounds in your head. Come back up to a straight spine and switch the cross of your legs so the other foot is in front now. And then fold forward, same thing. We're just evening out the stretch, evening out how we stretch in the legs and the hips here. Whenever you do something on one side in yoga, you always want to do it on the other side. Our bodies do not technically live in perfect symmetry at all times throughout our lives, but in yoga, we can aim to create balance. That is the goal of yoga, is to create balance. And we do that by mirroring movements on one side and then on the other. So continue to breathe here in your forward fold and come back up to your straight spine. Beautiful. From here, swing your legs underneath you and come up into a tabletop pose. Hips are over your knees, your shoulders are over your wrists. Lengthen the spine from the top of your head all the way down to your tailbone. Lift your internal organs back to your spine using your belly button to engage your core. And then from here, make sure you feel nice and sturdy in your tabletop pose. Press through the hands. We're going to begin to move through cat-cow. Inhale, open up across the chest. Exhale, round the spine to the sky. Inhale, shine the heart forward. Exhale, scoop the upper back to the ceiling. Continue just like that. You can stay more still as you move through this, or you can rock forward and back like I am. Find what feels good here and find a little bit of fluidity in this movement. Connect the two poses as if you're just flowing through them like water. Beautiful. After your next round, come back to a nice straight spine. And from here, we're just going to bring the right foot in between our hands. Make sure that right knee is directly over your right ankle and lift yourself up into your low lunge. You can lift your arms up overhead like I am, or you can keep your hands on your hips. Press through the heel of that right foot. Let your hips sink forward. Engage through your core. Continue pressing your belly button back to your spine. And then bring that right hand to your hip and do a little side bend, reaching the left fingers across you to the right, bending over to the right. You might not go very far here, and that's okay. This is a tricky balancing pose as well. Find one point to focus on. Don't let your vision waver. Keep your core engaged and press through that heel. Come back up to center, lift both arms up to the ceiling, plant the hands down on the mat, step the right knee back to meet the left, and same thing on the other side. Bring the left foot between the hands. Make sure that left knee is directly over the left ankle, and then inhale the spine up nice and tall, hands either at your hips or up overhead. And take a couple breaths in here, really pushing into the mat with that left heel to anchor and stabilize you. And then bring that left hand to your hip and reach the right fingers up and over, side bend to the left. Keep your core engaged. Keep your hips square. Your lower body should be in the same position as it was in your low lunge. Beautiful. Come back to center, arms up overhead. Plant the feet down on the mat. Step the left knee back to meet the right. Walk your hands forward just a couple of inches. Curl your back toes under, keep your knees nice and bent, and press yourself up into a downward facing dog. If downward dog is tricky for you, bend the knees a lot and focus on lengthening through the spine, getting the spine nice and straight, pushing your chest towards the mat. And then you can begin to straighten the legs. Downward dog is more of an upper body pose. Begin to walk your feet to meet your hands and roll yourself up to standing, coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. You can stay facing the front of your mat. I'm just going to turn and face you. Transfer the weight into your right foot and open up your left knee out to the side. Your ankle can rest, your heel, can rest at your ankle, your inner calf, or your inner thigh for your tree pose. And just like we did in our low lunge, you want to find one thing to focus on. Engage through the core, lengthen through the tailbone, lift up out of the joints to see if you can maintain your balance. And if you fall out of it, that's okay. Come right back into tree pose. Falling out of balancing poses is how our body learns to stabilize us. That's how our muscles get stronger, because they know what they need to do to compensate for a loss in balance. Beautiful. Bring that left foot back down to the mat, hip width apart, bend the knees, and come into your chair pose. Make sure the weight is in your heels. You can lift the arms up overhead or keep them at heart center. It's up to you. Broaden across the chest, almost like you're in your cow pose again. Lengthen through the tailbone and then lift up to standing. Beautiful. Transfer the weight now into the left foot. Open up the right knee just to its natural opening. And then that right heel will go either to the ankle, the inner calf, or the inner thigh. Coming into your tree pose. As much as you can, try and make sure your hips are square. And don't be sinking into your joints. We don't want you sinking into your ankle or into your hips. You want to constantly imagine this upward energy flowing out of you, lifting you up closer and closer to the ceiling and to the sky. Find one point to focus on, your drishti point. Bring that right foot back down to the mat, hip width apart, and sink into your chair pose. Rock the weight back into your heels, bend the knees, lift up across the chest, tailbone reaches down, hands at heart center or up overhead. It is up to you. And then come back into Tadasana pose. Very nice. Well done. Inhale the arms up overhead. Deep breath, and exhale, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, fold forward. Let the chin fall into the chest, and then inhale, lift up halfway, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat, bend the knees deeply, and step right back into your high plank. If you need to bring the knees down onto the mat, do so. Everybody, lower your knees to the mat, lower your torso all the way down to the mat. Press into the tops of your feet so your kneecaps lift off the mat. Press the hips into the mat, engage through the core, hands underneath your shoulders, and inhale, lift the shoulders off the mat just a little bit. We're not going for full cobra, we're just in baby cobra. You don't want to be pushing into your hands too much. You want to use the strength of your back to lift your shoulders up. Exhale, lower down. And then inhale, press your way back into downward facing dog. However you need to get there today. Press through the hands, press the heels towards the mat. Walk your feet to meet the hands into your forward fold. And then inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the scalp away from the hips. Exhale, fold, and roll yourself all the way up to Tadasana, bringing the hands to heart center. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come into Warrior One. So step back with that right foot, about 2 or 3 feet or so. Those right toes are going to pivot outward a little bit, just as is comfortable. And that left knee should stay straight on top of that left ankle, just like in our low lunge. Inhale the arms up overhead, and you've arrived at your Warrior One pose. Beautiful. Make sure that your ribs are facing straight forward, that you're not turning to the right side. You want your hips, even though there's a little bit of an opening, to be mostly straightforward. Bring your hands to your hips now. Straighten that front left leg. Imagine someone has hooked a finger behind your back belt loop. Bring your hands to your thigh and slide yourself down forward, keeping your back nice and straight, coming into a flat-backed pyramid pose. Breathe nice and deeply, and if you can stay here, you can slide your hands further down. You can bring your hands to blocks, letting yourself relax over that front leg. Tuck the chin into the chest wherever you are. Breathe nice and deep. And like I said, if you want blocks under your hands, definitely use them. Pyramid pose is challenging. Bend into that left knee. Roll yourself back up into Warrior One. Press through that back right heel. Beautiful. And come back up to Tadasana. Give everything a little wiggle. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Step the left foot back 2 or 3 feet. Left toes pivot outwards just a little bit. Right knee is directly over that right heel. Lift the arms up overhead and make sure your ribs are straight forward. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Stand up tall and proud and strong here in your Warrior One. Continue to breathe nice and deep. Don't hold your breath. And then bring your hands to your hips. Straighten through that right leg. Keep your hips nice and straight. Hands to the top of your thigh. And imagine someone's pulling your back belt loop. Keep your back nice and straight. And fold forward, sliding your hands down your leg into your pyramid pose. And once you've reached the point where your back can't be straight anymore, relax through the shoulders, tuck the chin into the chest, and enjoy this forward fold. Enjoy the stretch in your legs, in your hips, and in your upper back. You can keep your hands on your legs as well if that feels comfortable. Bend into the right knee. Roll yourself back up into your Warrior One. Find it, feel the strength and the power. Beautiful. And then step that left foot forward to meet the right. Give everything a little wiggle. And then from here, inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Bend the knees, fold forward. Beautiful. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthening through the whole spine. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back into high plank. We won't be here for long, don't worry. Breathe in your plank pose and push your hips up to the ceiling, back into downward facing dog. Walk out your downward dog here if that feels good. Find stillness or make movement, whatever you need today. This is our last downward dog of the class today. Lower the knees down to the mat so the knees are wide and the feet are together, and sit the hips back into child's pose. Let the hands stretch out in front of you and come back to your breath. Let your heart rate slow down. Feel the safety of your child's pose. And then walk your hands back up so you're sitting on your heels. Swing the legs around. Scoot yourself forward on your mat so you can come to lie down on your back. Hug the right knee into your chest, keeping that left leg nice and long. Use your right hand to open that right knee out towards your shoulder, so you're getting a nice gentle opening in the pelvis and the hip flexors. And then bring that right knee so it's directly over the left hip. Use your left hand to guide it across you to the left for a reclined twist. Your right arm can either be straight out in a T shape or in cactus arms, whatever feels good and whatever you have the space for, wherever you are doing yoga today. You're welcome to close your eyes here as we begin to make our way to Shavasana. We're slowing down, letting our body begin to incorporate everything that we did today. We worked a lot through our legs, our hips, our back. Bring that right leg back to center. Give it one more little squeeze. And then let the right leg go long and hug the left knee into the chest. If you need to situate your hips, do so. Hug the left knee in. Maybe make some circles with the foot, and then use the left hand on the shin to open the left knee up to the left shoulder. So you're getting a nice stretch in your pelvic floor and in your hips. Bring that left knee directly over the left hip. Use your right hand to guide it across you into a twist, and that left arm can either be cactused or reached out in T shape. Let yourself breathe. See if you can relax any part of you that's clenching or holding on. This is a little bit more of an active twist, but still see where your body can release and let go. Come back to center. Let both legs go long. Feet as wide as the mat. Hands rest by your sides. Shimmy the shoulders away from your ears. And rest here in your Shavasana. Close your eyes. And breathe deeply. You don't need to pay attention to anything else here. You don't need to change your breath. You don't need to police your thoughts. Whatever you need to feel or think, you can do that. Shavasana is when your body begins to percolate and process the work that you did. It gives you space to digest and process anything that needs to be digested and processed. And it is a space of rest, restorative rest, which is why you'll find Shavasana at the end of almost every single yoga class. Everything we do in yoga leads up to this pose. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Make circles with the wrists and the ankles, and either stretch the arms up overhead for a full body stretch or hug the knees into a little ball, whatever feels good. And then wherever you are, wherever you end up, make your way back into a cross-legged seated position, just like we began class. Rest your hands on your knees and take a deep breath in through the nose. And let it out the mouth. Take a moment to offer yourself a moment of gratitude. And then bring your hands to heart center. Bow to your heart. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe because there is always new yoga coming your way. And until next time, have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you again on the mat very soon. Bye for now.